In today's episode, I'm going to check out the latest news coming out of Microsoft just in time for Microsoft Ignite. On top of that, we're going to do a deep dive into the new Organisational Messages feature, which is now available in Microsoft 365. And it's more than just a simple text message. It's very cool. Check it out. Hi everyone, great to see you. Andy here. Welcome to the channel, especially if this is your first visit. You know, we're just approaching conference season and there's lots of conferences coming around. So for me, I'm going to be at the Nordic Infrastructure Conference next week in Oslo, followed by Tech Mentor Live 360 in Orlando, and then finally in Chicago for Microsoft Ignite. And certainly with Ignite, the momentum is definitely building in terms of Microsoft 365. There's already been a slew of new announcements made about upcoming releases to the product, and I'm going to be covering some of those today. On top of that, I'm going to check out the new Organisational Messages feature, which I have to say I'm pretty impressed at. Just to mention that today's sponsor is RoboPack, and a little bit more on them later on. Now, if you have questions and comments, as always, get those down below. I love to hear your feedback. And if you've not subscribed, you know what to do. Bump that button up there. So I think without any further ado, let's check out the news first on Microsoft 365, and then we'll take a look at this new Organisational Messages feature, which rocks. So stick around. So for the first nugget of information this week, I'm going to pop in here into the Identity portal. I'm going to come into Entra ID and I'm going to pop down here into the Protection tab and Conditional Access. So here in Conditional Access, I'm going into Policies and I'm clicking on the default policy now, of course, requiring that all admins require multi-factor authentication. I'm sure you know that already. One thing that you'll see is we have a new node here. It says Target Resources. This used to be known as All Cloud Apps. But the reason for the change here is obviously clear. It's not just covering user actions, authenticated contacts. It's also talking about resources. And obviously in the future, there are going to be new types of resources which are adding. So watch out for that. Just a quick reminder as well, we also have the new network nodes here. So this is if you're using Microsoft's new Global Secure Access. Just quick tip for that, of course, you will need the new Entra Suite license for that. But that does come with a few goodies in there as well. Another quick thing to just mention here is also in the users. So when we're coming into the all users node here, you will no longer be able to license your users here. You must now license your users in the Microsoft 365 portal. So that's the first thing. Now, one of my favorite features in Microsoft Intune is the Intune portal. And in Microsoft 365, it's currently going through a little bit of a refresh. So this is really welcomed. It looks really nice and clean. Apps are really nicely kind of presented here. It shows you exactly what details on your devices, shows you if you've got what installed apps you've got, as well as any apps that you might want to install. Also, you can see that this particular version is for Windows, but again, the other versions are very similar as well. Now, in terms of devices as well, it shows you the current status of your device. And this is really useful because if it's kind of, for example, if it falls out of compliance, then obviously you've got the opportunity to kind of fix that either automatically or manually, which is really good. Now, in terms of delivering messages as well, it also integrates with the new organizational messages, which I'm going to show you that in a moment. But really for your users who are on the move, traveling around using their own devices, this is absolutely superb. Today's video is sponsored by RoboPack, the trend-setting solution for Intune packaging and third-party patch management, and it's free for SMBs and NGOs. Visit them today at robopack.com. Now, as many of you know, Microsoft Exchange Server is being retired, both 2016 and also 2019. Its replacement is called Exchange Server Subscription Edition, or SE, which is currently kind of starting to be rolled out next year. Now, this is a major change for Microsoft Exchange. And for those customers who have not migrated to Microsoft 365, there are some major things that you need to take a look at, specifically this particular article. So if you want to know more, I strongly recommend that you come to the Exchange team blog here at the Microsoft community, and you can see that there is some important information here regarding the retirement of Exchange 2016-2019 and the introduction of the new subscription service, of course, which will tie heavily in with the support for the likes of the new upcoming release of Windows Server. Also, the subscription edition tells you all the details here, how it's going to work and so on. And also it talks about what you can upgrade to, how to upgrade. As I said, strongly recommend that you check this out. Now, another piece of nuggety news this week is also centered around the topic of delicensing here, which generally is not really a problem. Obviously, the idea of delicensing is if typically the way it works at the moment, if a user tries to access their mailbox and their account has been delicensed, of course, what happens is the mailbox essentially goes into a recycle bin, and you can see the maximum is 30 days, but again, the default is 12 days here. So this could potentially be a little bit of a nightmare. So this is the old kind of settings here that we had previously. So you can see here that from day one, so if you delete a user's mailbox, or it's removed or the license is removed, then basically the user would get a 30-day license here. Now, at this point, you could then reassign the license and everything was fine. But on day 30, boom, that was the end of it. The user's mailbox would not be recoverable. So this behavior is now changed, and thank goodness I would say as well. So you can still, that same delicensing period, you get that grace period for 30 days, but you also get an additional grace period as well. So we now have a total of 60 days in which to recover those mailboxes. Or the licenses, I should say. Now, one of the major causes of delicensing, of course, is group-enabled licensing in Microsoft 365. So, you go and delicense a group, and then you realize that you have a number of users in here who are not licensed. But typically here, between day 60 and day 75, after that, you can see that the user's mailbox is simply not recoverable. So this, as I said, is a new feature. You can get a report here. So you can use the get dash pending delicensing PowerShell commandlet, and you can also go into the portal here, and you can see here that it will give you an indication of which licenses have recently been removed. And also, if you go into the reporting and service health area, again, you'll get that nice updated report here as well. But as I say, full details on the Microsoft Exchange online blog. That is currently delicensing, very important for Exchange admins. Okay, so with all the news out of the way, let's check out this week's deep dive. We're going to look at the introduction of the brand new organizational messaging feature in Microsoft 365. And I gotta tell you, it's more than just a text message. Stick with this, it's awesome. Check it out. Okay, so kicking off here in Microsoft 365, one of the first things that comes to my mind anyway is the obscure place where they put this feature. It's in reporting, and you can see here that we have organizational messages. Personally, I think it would have been in a much better place, either on the support option there, or even, for example, the setup option might have been better. But needless to say, here we are. And you've got the choices. So you can create a message, send an urgent message, and you can also review any activity here. So you can see here that if you had lists of messages and for example, you've got links in them, it would show you, for example, how many clicks, how many viewers have opened it or clicked on it or responded to it. So to be honest, the message types are a pretty similar experience. One just thing to mention here is that this feature is currently in public preview. So details on pricing, which clients or which tenants are going to get this, we're not sure at the moment. But needless to say, it looks like everybody is getting this preview anyway. So I'm going to click on create a message. And what you're presented is with a number of different templates. So if you want to drive adoption in the organization, for example, the upcoming release of Microsoft Passkeys, for example, if you're looking to onboard devices or onboarding new users, if your company is interested in sustainability, we all are at the moment, of course, if you're driving any tech updates, perhaps you're announcing a training course or a training program, or perhaps just some other general message here. If you click on general, by the way, and click on next, you can see then, you've got the option. You just want to create like a basic text message. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to actually click on the tech update here, and I'll just click on next. And again, it will say, where do you want the notification to appear? So do you want it to appear in the notifications area on the start menu on the bottom right-hand corner? Do you want it to appear on the taskbar itself? Do you want to have a teaching pop-up? So for example, this will just pop up on screen. Or do you want it to appear in the Windows Spotlight area on the sign-in page? For me, I'm going to choose, I want a teaching pop-up, and I'm going to go ahead and click on next. You're then presented with a number of templates. Again, this depends on the category that you've chosen. So perhaps you're announcing some new software, perhaps some hardware information, just a general important bit of news to the organization, security information, or perhaps you've deployed Copilot, for example, for Microsoft 365, and you want to announce a new and exciting feature. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and click on hardware and click next. So it says, do you want to do an update for your PC? Yes, you might want to do that. So again, you can see the message is filled in already. I can put in a website if I want to. So for example, you might have a training video, of course. For me, I'm just going to make it simple here. I'll just go into YouTube then, and I'm going to click on next. And then it says, okay, do you want to choose an organizational attribute? So who are the recipients here? Do you want it to send to a particular group, a particular company? So for example, this might be in a tenant-to-tenant environment or a multi-tenant scenario. You might want to push it out to a particular department. So if you've set up dynamic attribute management, group management by department, you can filter it by that. Or you can deploy it to a specific location. How cool is that? For this, I'm going to just click on group. And for this demo, I'm going to say, okay, this particular group, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to send it to my, let's say, I'll say my Tailspin toys. Do you want to exclude specific users? And you can exclude a particular user there. For me, I'm just going to simply say no. I'm going to click on next and I'm going to push this out. So now it says, okay, what do you want to say about the message? So I can put in a little message. So again, I can say new hardware announced. And I can say, when do you want to schedule this? Do you want to schedule a particular date? You can push it out on a particular end date as well. So for example, for me, I'm going to say today, and then we'll say basically a week from now. And this is quite useful if the user's offline, they've been on vacation, that message is still going to get them. And you can also send the frequency as well. So how many times do you want to send the message? Well, you don't want to bombard users too much. unless it's really urgent, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose once per week here. So I'm going to click on next, and again, you can see you get the little preview. So you get the preview here. And that's exactly what it will look like. So again, the next is the schedule. So yep, I'm happy. I've confirmed and scheduled that, and you can see that it's now gone out in the queue, and I'm now done. So now what will happen, of course, now we will see this will refresh in a moment, and you will then see any kind of responses that you might have. So I will just quickly refresh this page, and you'll see that the message comes in. Sometimes the portals, as you know, are a little bit slow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say, let's create another message now. And this one, you might say, I want to scroll down. I might want to say other. I will click on next. And this time I'm going to choose the notifications area to send the message. Do you want to use a pre-made template? In this case, I'm just going to create my own message. Click on next. And again, I'm going to say new IT team. Hardware. I can paste a little message in there. So this is just to inform everybody that their new laptops are now available. Again, I can put in a website. Again, I'm just going to put in YouTube just as an example. But obviously, if you've got like a support page, help desk, something like that. And you can see I've already gone ahead and added in my company logo. So I've just put in my MVP logo here. Just to mention, it must be 48 by 48 pixels, maximum size, okay? And that will then be included on the message. And again, you get that little preview here, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. So we click on next. Again, in terms of who are the recipients here, do you want to send it to, for example, everyone? So again, do you want to send it to companies? Again, you need to enable group level insights, of course. You can turn that on within the settings page. Do you want to send it out to a particular department or to specific groups or locations? For me, I'm going to send it to my all company. So I'm going to send this to everyone in the company, and I'm going to click next. Again, when do you want to send this out? So again, do you want to schedule it? Again, I'm just going to say today, and you can see the minimum is a week, so it will go out for a minimum. Again, you can select that. How often do you want it to be pushed out? So again, for the purpose of this detail, or this demo rather, I'm going to just say 1 week. Okay, once you've finished, click next. And you can either send for an approval. So you can either send for an approval. So again, an admin or maybe a manager will approve this depending on your admin level. So I'm happy for this. And you can see that the reason it's doing this is because it's going out to the entire company. So you can see here, I acknowledge that Microsoft are providing an internal messaging service. Just gives you a little note there. Yes, I confirm that that's okay. Off it goes, and I've now done that. Okay, and you can see that the message has now been added to the queue. So off it goes, and this will now be pushed out to everyone in the company. So as I said, at any point you can come in and you can have a look at, for example, the review activity here. It will give you an idea of how many messages were sent, how many clicks, what's the click-through rate, and so on there. Okay, so again, just going to refresh this page. As I say, once it's in the queue, it can take a little while before that message goes out. As you can imagine, with so many tenants, so many people sending messages, this is going to increase processing time and also increase network traffic. So there we have it, organizational messages now in preview. Definitely check it out. Very cool indeed. So there you have it. That's some pretty good tidbits of information, isn't it? And I think that organizational messages feature, we've been waiting for that so long, but I actually never expected it to be that good. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you joining me today. Just to mention, if you want access to full courses that I teach, then why not check out my Patreon site here, where you'll get access to those courses, monthly Zoom calls, and a lot more. That's it for today. You take care. I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy, and while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.